We'll start off with our hook and the vise. Going to attach our thread approximately at the position where you believe the head of your fly is going to start. We're not going to start this fly right behind the eye, as you'll see later, because we'll be using a fish skull to finish off this pattern. Going to advance our thread right about to the point where the barb is on our hook. Going to cut about a 4-inch piece of 50-pound hard mono. See, I've kind of turned the hook here. Because what we're going to do is we're going to borrow a little trick from some of the saltwater guys, and we're going to put a mono loop at the end of this, prevent the fly from fouling. But what I want to do is I want to tie this in first on the near side, so the side closest to me, because I basically want that piece of mono, as you see here, to mirror both sides of the shank. Kind of spit it up a little bit here, so it looks like so. So it's not in a bunch on top of the shank, but on either side. Reason being, this is going to give me a nice base to tie in my wing. After I secure that, I'm going to take 2 marabou plumes, pull off all the fluff on the lower end of the stem, fix the first one wrap, put the second one on right next to it, secure the butt ends, clip it. As you can see, that marabou is going to be held right up off the back of the hook as a result of that mono loop. Now I'm going to take my barred-eyed rabbit strip, pull the hide back a hair, so I expose it right to the hide after I've measured it up with my shank of my hook. Take about 4 nice tight turns, hook that in place. And now as you see here, I'm going to show you how I like to cut mine. I like to cut the hide about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch inside the tips of my marabou tail. That way my tail in this hangs over a little bit. I like my tails a little longer on this. I think you get a little more movement out of it. Unlike some of your traditional zonkers, which are good flies, but some of the commercially tied ones tails are extremely short. You don't get as much movement out of them. Now I'm going to tie in a piece of Enrico Puglisi sparkle brush. Now I'm just going to palmer that brush utilizing open wraps right up the hook to the point where my thread started. Take 3 turns over the material, 3 in front, clip it with a pair of beat up scissors. Don't use your good ones on this because there is stainless steel wire in the center. Mash that little barb down with your thumb, then wrap over it again. Next thing I'm going to do, just take my little piece of Velcro and comb out that flashy material so it's even on either side. You see it kind of flattens itself out on the top of the fly, and then I just kind of sweep it back. Then I'm going to pull the rabbit strip down so it stays right over the top of the fly. As you can see, I got a nice profile from that because of that mono loop. And I'm just going to take a few more thread turns on there, secure that, grab myself a generous clump of laser dub. As you can see here, some of it's kind of curled up, so I'm going to pull it apart. It's like a nice little portion of it that I like. And then I'm going to transfer that right to where my thread is. Take 1 turn, 2 turns right down the center of it, primp it with my fingers, and as you can see, I can just veil it back by just brushing it with my fingers. It's a fantastic material to work with. I always like a little red in a lot of my streamers, so I'm going to take a small clump of red, just do 1 turn, veil it back. I can pull that right up into the back there, then pull the thread tight, put another 1/2 inch on, and then I'm going to take a second clump of the tan colored stuff, as you see here. After I pick it out with my hook inverted, same thing as I did in the top, 2 turns down the center, preen it with my fingers, advance the thread in front to a 1/2 inch. And if you notice here, my clump on the bottom is set a little farther forward than my top clump. Doesn't really matter. You'll see in a moment. They don't have to be exactly perfect. Just finish that off. Because you have to remember, I'm going to have a fish skull for a head on there. Clip my thread. Now I'm going to take my fish skull for this particular one. I've already got the eyes affixed to it. You can see there's a distinct top and a bottom. You want to make sure you put this on right, or else your fly is not going to ride correctly. So the curved side goes on the bottom, shorter side on top. After I measure it up, looks good. Left myself enough room. Gonna put a little drop of gel Loctite super glue on there. Put that head back on there. Make sure that it's past the eye and I leave myself a little bit of room there. Reattach my thread. 4 turns. Put a half hitch. And then I'm just gonna, if you want, you can throw some glue on the thread. Do a whip finish. Clip, and you're done. And that's your fly. It's a pretty good one. It's one of my top baitfish streamers. Enjoy. I'd like to take the time to thank my sponsors, Regal Vice, manufacturers of the world's best fly tying vices and accessories.